Hello traders, today is Tuesday, October 29, 2024. I'm gonna go over, um, 12 different names. I'm gonna try to do it as quick as possible. I'm a little bit short in time. We had some earnings today. We had Alphabet, we had AMD, PayPal, SOFI, and a bunch of other names. I'm gonna cover some of them, not all of them, but some names of interest in my opinion. Keep in mind, this is not financial advice. Do your own research before you invest your money. This content is for educational purposes. Let's start with AMD. And not a very good report, I would say. At least the market didn't see it that way. We went down, let me take a look, 7.65% after hours, really bad. That would take you to your 153. If we go to the 1 minute chart, 1 hour chart, you are very close to this area again. During the day, you actually had a pretty decent day, almost 4%. So you gave back all those gains, and now you are back at 53, I believe. Let's go back to the 4 hour chart, and yeah, you're back at 53. Not a good look. This you're basically somewhere in this area right here. I'll read for you a little bit of what we had for basically highlights of earnings. So the revenue increased by 18% year over year to 6.8 billion, which is beating estimates by 110 million. That's a good thing, right? Gross margin improved by 50%, basically by 3 percentage points year over year. Operating margins rose by 11%, which is 7 percentage points year over year, and a non-GAAP EPS of 0.92, which is in line with expectations. That is where I think the market starting having second thoughts about this report. And the guidance is, this is another bad thing for Q4, is approximately 7.5 billion, which is slightly below below estimations by 50 million. So those last two key points, I guess, are what the market didn't like. In reality, what I see with AMD is, and they are still very behind, other companies like NVIDIA, for example. They are one chip generation behind at the way things are moving, especially when AI. I just don't see AMD catching up anytime soon. And NVIDIA is moving at such a fast pace, and they're selling their products so fast. I again, it's gonna be a little bit difficult for AMD to catch up. As far as the technicals, what I'm seeing here, I think you're going to continue going down. If you break 150, you're definitely going towards the 325 SMA. That level is about 145. And if you break, you're going straight into 134. Not a good look so far. We'll see what is the behavior of the stock in the upcoming days. These, in my opinion, are good news for NVIDIA, but obviously the report that we're seeing so far for AMD is not very, it's not the best. Down again 7.6%, I believe, after hours. We are definitely going to have a gap right here. That is going to take us to 54, and we'll see how we behave on the 150, 151 level. And if we break it with momentum, which we might have, then we are going to go towards 145. Not a bad day, not a good day, I'm sorry, for AMD investors. Sorry about that if you were going long on this, but it was telegraphed, in my opinion, to a certain extent. Let's do Amazon. And sorry, I just got a text, and I don't want to stop the video to answer it. Anyways, Amazon had a great day. 1.3%. I do have Amazon calls. We're coming into earnings tomorrow. I think that after the results of earnings on Alphabet, I do believe that AWS and that side of the business of Amazon is gonna is going to have good results. At least that's what the market is taking. After hours, we had a very nice move as well. I think, yes, we did. So we were up another 1.6%. My calls are going to be on fire tomorrow, and I think I'm going to keep them after earnings. Anyways, Amazon right now is, let me see, let me go back to a 4-hour. You're at 193. Bada bing, bada boom. I told you, we break 190 and we are going to move with momentum. Why? Because we have low liquidity in this area. I think after earnings, if earnings are good, cross fingers, because I have calls on Amazon, their January calls, I think we're going to hit, 200 and maybe beyond that. That would be good news. Again, even after zooming out, you still have very, I wouldn't say very, but you have low liquidity in this area. This is good. Again, we are at 193, which is where the crash is right now. So we're right at this level. We basically have a little bit of resistance right here as far as liquidity, but then you can move freely towards 200. The market had a very good reaction. Companies like Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon, good reactions to the earnings that we saw today, especially coming from Alphabet. Okay, let's move on to, let's move on to, where are we? Best Buy. There's a reason why I want to talk about Best Buy, and it's because I told you on October, I told you 2 times, you had 2 opportunities to get into this trade. We had a gap right here. Let's make this gap a little bit bigger. That was a gap that we had. We had a gap after earnings right here. And then we went down, got rejected in this area right here. We went up towards this area 103, 104. We got a double top, very obvious. On October 2nd, which is in this candle, I was telling you I'm going short on this thing, which I did. I did buy puts. I sold them. The way I know, I don't know exactly when I sold them, but I didn't keep them for too long. And I'm pretty sure I sold them in one of these 2 candles when I was getting close to that 35 SMA and it didn't break with momentum. At that point, I was out. Okay. So keep in mind, I did mention this, and go back to that video on October 2nd. I was saying this is going to go down and start filling the gap. Well, then on October the 19th, which was a Saturday, so I was looking at this candle. I was telling you this is going to go down. Again, we're going to fill the gap. I did get more puts and I sold them on this green candle right here. Sometimes I trade like that. As soon as I see weakness on the move that I think is going to come, I just take my I take my money, I take my profits, and I'm cool with it. Anyways, this move actually continued going down, and now we are at this levels work of $89. One of the theses that I had was, well, you have this very big pronounced gap right here, and you have very low liquidity in this area. So October 2nd, I told you that, and then on Saturday, October the 19th, I was looking at this candle. This is Friday. This is Friday 18th. On October the 19th, which was a Saturday, I was telling you this is going to fill the gap. Bada bing, bada boom, we are at the end of the month and we are filling the gap as of today. So this gap has to go. I just wanted to let you know. This was a beautiful setup that, at least in my eyes, was pretty obvious, and it worked out the way I actually thought. Best Buy, just because of these moves and the setups, that these 2 trades were very decent for me, and it could have been better if I actually had, let's say, a dated trade buying puts on October 2nd that would with an expiration date maybe in December or something. That would have been fantastic. But I'm pretty sure I was trading November, mid-November calls, and for that reason I was just getting out quickly. Anyways, Best Buy gap got filled. We'll see what's the reaction here. You also have a gap of liquidity, so you can reverse easily, but the MACD and the TSI, RSI are telling you this is going to continue going down, probably to 86, 85, 86. Let's move on to look at this Bitcoin. And let me take a quick note right here. I want to move a little bit faster. Okay, Bitcoin is getting the momentum that we were talking about. We went over this level. Was it all-time highs? Almost there. We went over 67.3. Was this level right here? 68 or 69, and now you are at 72.3. We'll see if there is a little bit of weakness coming in. Maybe not. And then if we're going to retest and go to all-time highs, that would be fantastic. MACD and TSI don't look very extended, but again, this is Bitcoin, moves in its own way, I would say. RSI is right at the 70 line, but again, because you are getting into territory that hasn't been tested very much, there is low liquidity. So if there is more momentum coming, that would be fantastic. If we have, for maybe other reasons, a move kind of like this, that you're flagging a little bit and then continue moving, that would be fantastic. If you take a look at the, I actually put this line on the weekly chart. This looks beautiful. This looks fantastic. It's just breaking. You had this candle right here on the 21st, and then now that we're on the 28th, the following week, we are breaking on this resistance level at 71. This looks great. There is definitely, it has legs to continue going up. Look at the weekly MACD and the TSI. The RSI is not looking bad at all. So I don't know, we might have something interesting brewing for Bitcoin. Hopefully this gets to 100. At that point, I would personally sell what I own. Anyways, let's move on to and I want to see if I have actually notes on this company, because I did post a bunch of earnings today, and that is First Solar. Let's do First Solar really quick. And also earnings weren't too good for them. One of the posts that I did have on X was that we had to see on the daily what was going to be the reaction, and I was talking about it on the I think in one of these candles right here. What is the reaction on the 325 SMA? Well, after earnings, tomorrow this is gonna look like we are under the 325 SMA. We'll see what happened after that. But I do think that this actually has or might have more room to continue going down. Right now we're at 186. It was down after hours almost 7%, 6.7%. Not a good look for this company, First Solar. And let me see if I actually have notes, because again, I did a bunch. Okay, so net sales, $0.9 billion, so right under $1 billion. Net income per diluted share, 2.91. Impacted by 50 million product warranty reserve charge. Okay. Net cash balance of wow, 0.7 billion. That's not good. Year to date, net bookings 4.0 gigawatts with 0.4 gigawatts added since the last earnings call. So I don't know that much, but I don't know if that's a lot or not. Sales backlog expected to reach 73.3 gigawatts. First Solar, they have a steady booking growth with significant sales, but still, I think it wasn't enough, I guess, for the market to really appreciate what is going on here. Let me see if I have guidance. Okay, net sales revised to 4.10 billion from 4.25 billion. That's not good. So that is basically what is bringing the stock down. Earnings per diluted share narrowed to 13 from 13.5 from previous range of 13 to 14. Okay, that's not good. And capex reduced to 1.55 billion from 1.65 billion. Okay, and that is actually down from the initial range of 1.8 billion to 2 billion. I know it's a lot of information, but yeah, Strategic adjustment, maintaining a strong back. Yeah, this is not good. Okay, so I think we are, another thing that might happen here is that there might be some opportunities later on because the reactions that we're seeing to earnings are very black and white as far as I've seen. So if you're not beating or if you're in line or under, the stock is really tanking. Look at AMD, look at First Solar, and look at some other stocks that I mentioned. And then if you're beating, you're just flying, which is great. So that is going to set up a lot of opportunities to go, in the opposite direction. So if for long trades and short trades as well, there's going to be opportunities there, in my opinion. Okay, let's move on to, I want to talk about, of course, I want to talk about Google. Let me see, take a quick note right here. Let's take a look at the 4 hours so we can see what was the final. This is insane. Look, you feel the gap already. So it was up almost 6%. I do have calls on Google. These are, again, January calls. I didn't buy them right before earnings. I bought them right on this area when I thought we were going to break on this symmetrical triangle. One of the things that I was saying in the past was, and there was a lot of opportunity here, especially because we were coiling here and we were getting into this kind of, we were getting very tight in this area. And one of the things that I said in one of the videos, I don't know which one, is that once we get a reaction, we are just going to skyrocket. Well, the price is somewhere around here. Let's go. I want to see what is the price after hours. You are 181. So you are right on this area right here. The wick of the 4 hour already filled this gap. And that's what I was saying. If we break this range right here, and if we go over this resistance with the addition of the catalyst from earnings, we're going to cover this gap. And that's exactly what happened. And I'm super happy because tomorrow my calls are going to be insane. So that's what I have for Google. Good earnings. Let me read if I have any notes on Google earnings. Just go really quick. I think they had so revenue up 15% year over year to 88.3 billion, beating estimations by $2 billion. Operating margin improved by 32%. That is a plus 4% percentage points year over year. EPS 2.12, exceeding expectations by 0.27. Incredible. Google Cloud, you have revenue grew by 35% year over year, reaching 11.4 billion. Incredible numbers. Operating margin increased by 17%, and that is a Google Cloud. I'm talking about Google Cloud now, and that is 14 percentage points year over year. Wow. YouTube ads revenue rose 12% to $8.9 billion. This thing is going to continue going up. I'm not selling my calls for a while. We might get a little bit of a reversal in the next few days or whatever, but I do think that this thing is just going to continue moving up. After listening to myself talk about those earnings, this looks great. You have very low liquidity here, and that low liquidity is going to continue, so beware of that. But other than that, I do believe that we are going to continue going down. Up towards 190. Fantastic. Okay, let's move on. HIMS had an interesting day. Let's go to the 5 minute and you will see. Pretty nice. You went up to this resistance level at 23.4, and then sellers came in and you tanked all the way 3.64% to the downside. Let's go to the daily chart. One thing that I like about HIMS, there's a couple of things. One thing that I like, and another thing that at least gives me a little bit of a question mark. What I like is the fact that is you're seeing some color here, but it's not getting out of range. I also like the fact that you are not under the 21.7 level. That's a good thing. I was at the gym and I was looking at this stock and I was like, well, it did close over 21.7, which is good, even though you had a 3% or almost 4% negative day. But I think this is kind of good going into earnings. One of the things that I kind of don't like um, if I wanna really push myself to put a question mark into this is the fact that the stock has been rallying before earnings. We saw that in SOFI, which I'm gonna cover later, and SOFI had an outstanding earnings report and it still went down. So that is one of the things that for SOFI, for example, I said a couple of days back that it makes me uncomfortable to see the stock moving as aggressively before earnings, because no matter what, you know, that the call would have to be absolutely perfect for the market to actually continue assimilating this type of moves. Now, the difference between SOFI and this is, and the move on HIMS is a little bit healthier, and you have these pullbacks, and then buyers come back up. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow we are back over 23.4. I wouldn't be surprised. I would prefer, however, and that's just my preference, right? If we are on this range, on the 21.7, maybe a little bit lower, maybe in this range by 21, and then between 21 and 23.5. That would be fantastic. We still have time for these indicators to cool down, but for now, I'm just looking at levels and candles. Considering that we're going into earnings, I don't want to rely on these indicators too much. Anyways, earnings are next Monday. This is going to be super interesting. The next 3 days for HIMS are going to be crucial as far as how the price moves. But I think long term, this is at least for now, a great company. Again, that my only fear for HIMS is Amazon going heavy into telehealth, and at that point, HIMS is probably gonna take a big hit. But we will cross that bridge when we have to cross it. For now, this is looking good, and again, maybe if earnings are great and still the market doesn't assimilate the earnings the way we would like to, that might be actually an opportunity to buy. I think that SOFI, for example, is a good opportunity. The candle, I will show you the chart, but the candle, the daily candle on SOFI tells you that SOFI is also going to continue going up. So I'm not sure if HIMS is going to have the same fate. I like the chart more than what I was seeing in SOFI. I like the fact to completely different industries as well. And I like the fact that we didn't close today under 21.7. I like the fact that I'm seeing a little more red before earnings, and I wouldn't be surprised if earnings are going to be outstanding. But again, I know as much as you do as far as what we think about what earnings are going to be. Okay, let's move on to another company that I might actually risk some money tomorrow, and that is Robinhood. And one of the things that I like about Robinhood is everything that they're doing. They're really acquiring so many customers with the customer acquisitions that they're doing are and the system that they have for incentives of bringing investors into their platform, I think is working out very well. But again, you have earnings coming tomorrow after hours, I believe, and that is, yes, tomorrow after hours. Let's confirm that. Yeah, after hours. We'll see how we behave. Again, I'm not too worried about these indicators right now coming into earnings, but I think if something really great comes out of Robinhood, the move is, I read that the implied volatility move is about 12% on this name, kind of like what we were seeing on Tesla. It was also 12%, and Tesla went up after earnings 22%. Anyways, this is just an interesting name. I do believe long term, Robinhood is probably gonna go over 40, at least in the upcoming months. That's just my my take on Hood, and I do believe that after earnings, or maybe even just tomorrow, I'll see how the stock behaves during the day. I might actually get some May or June calls on Hood. You know, I do think that there might be something there. I don't know if I'm gonna buy them right before earnings or right after earnings. I don't know. I have to decide that. But anyways, I like Hood coming into earnings as well. A little bit extended, but I like the fact that I got consolidated here. We also broke 27.3 level, and now you are moving slowly to the upside. So we might get something explosive tomorrow. or maybe just, a lot of talk, I guess, on the end of what we're seeing in Robinhood. But I know them that they are doing pretty well on customer acquisitions. Okay, let's move on to. I just lost some notes that I had. Okay, JP Morgan. And one of the things that I like about this name is, and we're consolidating in this area, we're still having a really hard time breaking on this level of 225. We might see, I want to see the after hours. Nothing really going on. Okay. Um, One of the things that is a little bit worrisome is the MACD and the TSI earnings are not coming for a long time, for a while. So we're good on that. If there's weakness under this volume shelf, you are going straight to 217. If that is the case, I would probably wait until we hit that level to actually get back in. I like trading these kind of names because they move slowly for the most part, and they are predictable in some ways. The charts are very defined, in my opinion. So it would be interesting to see if we go down to 217. By then, unless there is a critical move to the downside, a big candle in other words, by then you're going to be very close to the 35 SMA if this moves slow towards a 217 level. And it might be probably a good opportunity there to actually go long. Now, if we get volume coming in, or buyers coming in, then you break that 225, and at that point, maybe, I don't know, I would have to see if it makes sense to actually get in. I would, for now, prefer waiting for this to cool down a little bit. The MACD and the TSI are telling you that things are going in that direction. The TSI is losing strength, as you can see here, and the RSI is already on its way down towards the middle line. So we'll see what happens. But for now, this is an interesting name to actually keep an eye on and be a little bit patient with how this behaves. If it breaks 225, I'm not sure if I want to get in to the, to buy calls or anything. I'd rather wait for this to reverse a little bit and then I would jump in. Anyways, let's do another name that I actually have notes, I believe. Where are you? Reddit. So, okay, I do have some. They actually they did great, and my notes are pretty long. Okay, so I'm gonna have to read this. Be a little more strategic in how I read this. But it was up today after hours by 20, almost 25%. Look at this candle. This is insane. If we go to, we are at 101. If we go to the daily, you are all the way up here right now. So you have a giant gap coming into tomorrow. Don't be surprised, and this thing sells off a little bit coming into earnings. You're seeing a little bit of a cool down on Tesla, for example, and don't be surprised, and you have some sort of a similar reaction. You might get some buyers tomorrow. That's great, but then this in my opinion is definitely gonna cool down. Anyways, let's take a look at some of the highlights of their call or the report. So revenue is 348.4 million, up 68% year over year. Fantastic. Net income 29.9 million compared to a loss of 7 million on Q3 2023. All right, that's awesome. Adjusted EBITDA at 94.1 million, up from minus 6.9 million in Q3 of 2023. So year over year. Daily active users 97.2 million, a 47% year over year increase. So it is justifiable to see this incredible move after hours. Segment revenue, the US is 288 million, which is a 70% year over year. International 60.4 million, 57% year over year. Let's see if we have other metrics. Gross margin 90.1% up from 87% year over year. Net margin 8.6% compared to minus 3.6 year over year. Those are insane numbers. This thing is, I think it's okay if it keeps flying, I guess. Adjusted EBITDA, whatever, margin 27% up from minus 3% year over year. What kind of magic are these people doing? Free cash flow 70.3 million. I think I mentioned that. No, 70.3 million. A significant turnaround from minus 11.6 million year over year. I'm reading this and I'm just, this is unbelievable numbers. So yes, if the market is reacting at 25% after hours, I think it's completely justifiable considering the numbers that they are actually giving us. This is insane. I'm just reading this and I'm reading my own notes and then I'm let's continue. User revenue growth, and there is DAU, which is daily active users growth 97. Yeah, I mentioned that. Weekly active users 365.4 million, up 53%. I don't use Reddit, but I guess a lot of people are. Average revenue per user, ARPU, average revenue per user, that's the acronym, 3.8 dollars. So that is an increase of 14%. Woo. Q4 2024 outlook, revenue projected between 385 million and 400 million. Okay, so those are the numbers. Maybe one of the things that are increasing these numbers are because it's election year and something, maybe, so next quarter is probably going to be pretty decent, and then we'll see what happens on the first quarter of 2025 once the election is out of the way. It could be that, but at least for now, this is looking incredible. If you were long on this thing, tomorrow is going to be, you tell your girlfriend to pull out the red panties because your account is going to look very nice. Anyways, let's move on and do a name that I was liking, and that is Riot. Okay. One of the things that I told you on Riot a few days back was that I like the fact that this is moving in a very healthy way to the upside. Now we are hitting that 325 SMA level, and you might probably encounter a little bit of resistance here, which you actually did if you take a look at this candle. Now, what would be optimal? Just be in range between the 325 SMA and the 200 SMA for a little bit, and then continue moving up. If Bitcoin continues to rally, I think this is gonna continue to move. Now, if Bitcoin takes a little bit of a breather, then you might actually get in range or even go down to 874 and then continue going up. I like how Riot has been moving compared, for example, with Mara. A lot of traders back in 2020 and 2021 used to actually trade these two names simultaneously. I don't know if that was a smart thing to do or not, and the stocks used to move in a very similar fashion. But I see Riot, at least on this one move, coming especially from this area right under the resistance level at 875. I found this name to be pretty consistent and very solid, especially right on this area from middle of September until basically now. Now we have to keep an eye on the reaction on the 325 SMA. That's what I'm thinking about right now. And we'll see if we get rejected, and if we break under the 200 SMA, then you're going down to 875. It's as simple as that. Now, if Bitcoin continues to rally, you're going to rally towards 1255 or 1250, and then we'll see what happens after that. So those are your levels right now. The 200 SMA, the 325 SMA, those are the immediate levels. And your range for now is, I would say, I shouldn't say this, the 325 SMA and 8.75. That's what I have for Riot. Let's finish this with, while I was covering HIMS, I was talking about SOFI, and so let's talk about it. One of the things that I told you when I mentioned SOFI, I think it was last time or the time before, was that I didn't like the fact that we were going this extended into earnings. What happened? You had phenomenal earnings report. It was fantastic, right? They're acquiring more customers. All the numbers are looking good. As far as I heard, I think the CEO said this is our best earnings report yet. And you still actually experience this situation with SOFI. Went down almost 7%. At one point, it was even more violent than that. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. At one point, my dog is crying downstairs. At one point, it was down almost 10%, and you went down under this resistance level at 1022. Now, buyers came back in. Let's go to the 5-minute throughout the day. And then around 11 Pacific time, things got choppy. You got under the 35 SMA on the 5-minute, and then you're flat after hours. Anyways, I think there is opportunity here, but not yet. Now, I could be wrong about this assessment, but what I think is that it would be great if you continue going down at least to the 1022 level. You give these indicators a little bit of a breather because they're quite extended, and then you might have an opportunity to go back in. Now, if you actually get the gift of going all the way down to 920, that would be, in my opinion, fantastic. Don't hate me if you are actually holding SOFI, but I think even now, there's still an opportunity. One of the things that I like, and I work with SOFI, I own businesses, and is one of my lenders, and they're pretty good. They're fantastic, in my opinion. I work with Bank of America, Chase, and SOFI. And SOFI are outstanding for small businesses or business owners, or even medium-sized and large businesses. They are pretty good. So we'll see what we get in the next few days. Keep an eye on this name. I'm gonna check on this like every morning. I normally take a look at all my stocks or everything that I have on this list. Is almost 250 names, but I'm definitely going to spend more time on staring at SOFI and see how it behaves. I think that long term, if things continue the way they are, they have wonderful management. I think there's definitely a good thesis or justification for this to continue going up towards, I don't know, maybe 11 and beyond, and maybe claim other levels that I don't have right now on this chart. But I do believe that an opportunity might be brewing here for us. Again, if we go down to 1022, fantastic. If we continue going down under that support level, that will be even better, because I think that this thing is going to move. And at that point, I personally, if we go down to 920, I would probably buy some shares some February or something. So I'm past this earnings report, but we'll see how this behaves. I think something very nice might come from SOFI. That's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much. Please subscribe and like the videos. I would really appreciate that. Other than that, I gotta run. Thank you. Bye-bye.